Hey viewers, my name's Kara. I'm your Tuesday host on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we're talking about justice. This week's topic comes from Chad, who asks, is a modern-day neo-pagan more in line with the concept of restorative justice or punitive justice? I know that I instinctively lean toward restorative justice over punitive justice, but am I out of step with the thoughts and beliefs of other neo-pagans? Now, I had a somewhat idea about what those terms actually meant, but normally when I'm looking at things about justice, it's social justice, and it's not in terms of punitive or restorative. So I wanted to make sure I knew what restorative justice meant. And it turns out through my research that punitive justice is often called retributive justice, retributive as in retribution. So that's what all of the links that I'm including seem to be about. So I have 4 links that I looked at that are about restorative versus retributive justice, one of which has a side-by-side comparison of the two. So I have 4 links in the description under that category for you to look at. And then this morning I also looked up Pagan Views on justice, which brought up a few articles that I read that I have linked below as well. And not surprisingly, a lot of them have to do with quotes from reclaiming activists such as Starhawk and Thorn Coil, but also some others. So those links will be in the description for you as well. The definition in one of the links from Wild Hunt, which I will read to you, sort of helped me get an idea of what a pagan view of justice and what they mean by social justice tends to be. Let me read that first. The article states, the University of Berkeley's Social Justice Symposium defined social justice as a process, not an outcome, which 1. Seeks fair redistribution of resources, opportunities, and responsibilities. 2. Challenges the roots of oppression and injustice. 3. Empowers all people to exercise self-determination and realize their full potential. 4. And builds social solidarity and community capacity for collaborative action. Now, after having read about the differences between restorative and retributive justice, then reading that definition under an article that is about pagan views on justice and what social justice means when we talk about it, it seems to me that our view of social justice is in line with restorative justice, which is what I was kind of thinking as I was reading about them, that I feel that my belief system is more in line with restorative justice in what I would want to be effective for the world. But because I don't know a lot about its system yet, I've only just started reading about it, and I don't know that I know about a lot of situations where that has been the system used, because of course retributive justice or punitive justice is what we see the most because it's what our society mostly employs. So I don't know if restorative justice can be effective for everything in our society today. I feel that it would have to be something that certain aspects of society would have to be changed a lot in order for restorative justice to be able to work across the board. Because I feel that there are some places where the main difference being retributive or punitive justice is about a crime was committed, a law was broken, it is an offense against the state, and the offender must be punished. And the victim, other than the state, is not really part of it. It's like, you've made an offense against the state, these are the laws that you've broken, and these are the punishments that the law states that you must go through. Whereas restorative justice says, okay, something happened, who was the offense made against, and it's an offense against individual or community, and then it's more of a voluntary basis of the offender and the victim or community coming together and saying, okay, this is what we need from you, this is what you need in order for this not to happen again. And it may be worked out with, for example, returning the stolen goods or paying for damages or doing community service, whatever is worked out that are the needs within that community. And retributive or punitive justice looks at the crime that has already been committed in the past, and restorative justice is more concerned about the future and how can we build the community for the future and for this to not continue happening. So I feel like there are certain examples I can think of, again, just not knowing enough about the different systems yet. There are some examples I could think of where restorative justice would be really preferable to what's currently going on, such as, I didn't put the link to this, but maybe I'll find the link to it again. There is a flow chart of the justice system, the American justice system, on the Wikipedia page, which showed all of the different ways that you can then get out of the justice system before you ever get to sentencing or having to do any kind of punishment. For example, really close to the beginning, there is the refusal to indict in a felony charge. And things like that have been happening a lot lately. I don't think I even have to name the specifics. There are a lot of cases where something is entered into the justice system and then somehow gets an out. And then what? Then the community is still upset and outraged, and there is still a need there that is not being met because, oh, well, they've been through the justice system and they got out, so that's it. Restorative justice would look at that and say, no, that's not the out. They would have to actually be in conversation and determine, okay, this is what we need from this situation, and this is what the offender needs from the situation. And something would have to be worked out. So I feel like in instances of that, restorative justice could be really good. I'm not sure if realistically right now how society is, if that would always work, because it does have to be voluntary, and I don't see a lot of the people in these situations stepping up and saying, yes, I did something wrong, let me help fix this. But then there are also things like, in a similar case, do really serious charges like that get adequately dealt with in the restorative justice system? They may, and I just don't know enough about it, but these are the things that I'm thinking about. But as far as my personal view goes, I also tend to lean toward restorative justice, and the fact that a lot of when I looked up pagan views on justice, the links that came up were about social justice and pagan views on it, and a lot of the people being mentioned were pagans in my realm of paganism and witchcraft. There are a lot of reclaiming people, and I'm not surprised at all by that. But knowing how big the pagan community is and how different a lot of our views are, especially about things like this that are not inherently explicitly connected to your religious beliefs, that is not to say that justice cannot be a part of your religious belief system or a part of your theology, but in saying, like belief in the god and goddess and belief in this and da-da-da, it doesn't tell you what you have to believe about social justice or justice systems. There are just a lot of things where if you believe these things, you will tend to lean one way or the other. So knowing how big of a spectrum we are, knowing how big and diverse a community we are, I will not say that all or most or many pagans will lean toward the same views that I have, that a lot of the same people following similar paths to me have, because there are pagans who have very different views on what's important to them and how the world works. So I'm not going to say either way. You can't take my word for it. You'd have to ask people. I feel like there are definitely some people who identify as pagan who would be very passionately for the punitive system, just based on other things that I've seen, conversations of other justice-related conversations. And we may all be pagan, but it's a huge community, and there's no really telling which end of that people are going to be on. I think that it is not at all out of step with the beliefs and thoughts of other neo-pagans to lean toward restorative justice. I feel that a lot of us may, but I'm not going to say for sure which one most of us tend to go with. I don't know enough about it yet. So that's my view. That's my thoughts that have developed out of reading a little bit about this. Please check out the links below if you want to learn more, and I will see you next month, because next week is Subs Week. So thanks for watching, and until next time, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.